Namaste, my name is Jyoti Daya and welcome to Learning with JD. Hi guys, welcome back to yet another session of Learning with JD. Let me give you a perspective of what we are going to cover today from our examination perspective. Yes, we are going to start preparing for our process groups. So we saw what are the process groups in the previous videos. We know we have 5 process groups. We are going to talk about the first process group in today's session, that is initiating. So we are going to talk about all the process groups. You have to see the coming up videos for the remaining ones. But in today's session, we are going to start with the initiating process group. So let's begin. Alright, so what are we going to cover today? Initiating. It is the first process group in the PMBOK framework. What is it all about? Why is it done? What is the processes in a part of this process group? We are all going to cover that. And what are the key activities that needs to be performed while the initiating process group? So what are the key activities? Do we know that? Maybe a brief about it. We've spoken about this in the session of the role of project manager. Yes, the project manager gets a job, right? So let's see this in detail. Alright, so what is the initiating process group? The initiating process group consists of those processes performed to obtain a new project. You need to first define what the new project is all about. Now this does not stop only for a project. This also refers to a new phase. Just in case a new phase is starting in an existing project, that also has to undergo through the initiating process group. The purpose of the initiating process group is two. One, it has to align with the stakeholders' expectation. The very first thing that the project manager has to do while they are initiating the project is that the stakeholders' expectation is aligned. If the stakeholders' expectation is not as per the requirement of the project or project's objective that we often call it as, the project will not succeed. The main role of the sponsor also is there in the initiating process group. Sponsor is the one who will define the project charter, which is the first document which is created when a project has begun or initiated, as we say. The initial scope is defined and the initial financial resources are committed. So what do you mean by financial resources? What are going to be the cost around the project? What will be the high level budget of the project? Who will be the key resources who will work on the project? All these requirements are broken down in the first phase itself and we call it as the initiating process group. Initiating process group helps the project manager to get clarity in terms of the project purpose. What do we call it as project purpose? It is the objective. Why the project has taken over, what is the need of the project, what is going to be the impact on the stakeholder, which stakeholders are going to impact the project. All these activities will be covered during the initiating process group. The project manager is appointed, very important. We saw this in the previous session as well, that during the initiating process, at the initiating process, the sponsor has a very key role in defining the project charter. Here comes your 1-mark question. You may get a 1-mark question that the project charter has been prepared and who has prepared the project charter. If the option has the sponsor as well, then the sponsor is the right option for you, because it is the responsibility of the sponsor to create the project charter. It may be delegated to the project manager. The sponsor may delegate the responsibility of getting approval of the project charter or creating certain sections of the project charter to the project manager. But the ultimate responsibility and accountability of the project charter remains with the sponsor. You may get a 1 mark question there. Do not get confused and please read it wisely. So coming back, the project manager is appointed. So the project manager gets a job. Now the project manager will start working on other documents. So project charter we spoke about. Project charter is the initial document that is created that defines the purpose of the project, defines what are the high level scope of the project, what are the financial requirement of the project, who are the key stakeholders of the project. All this information, the constraints, the assumptions, the high level risk, all these are a part of the project charter and it is defined by the sponsor, not the project manager. The sponsor may delegate the work to the project manager, but it is not the responsibility of the project manager. Then the stakeholder register is also created. Now what do you mean by a register? Register just means a list of something. It can be people, it can be information, it can be data, right? So stakeholder register is nothing but a list of all the key stakeholders which will impact your project or which are going to be impacted by the output of your project. Very important. I am repeating. Who is a stakeholder? A stakeholder is a person who gets impacted by the output of your project or may impact your project. Now this can be both. It can be positive as well as negative. So we often call it as favorable or unfavorable, right? So that is what is known as a stakeholder. The stakeholder register is created and it is the responsibility of the project manager to create the stakeholder. We'll see how the sequence moves on. So when the project charter is approved, the project is officially authorized. It happens during the initiation process group. Now that is the first process group. We've spoken about this before also. Please do not forget, do remember, very important from your examination perspective, that till the time the project charter is not approved, the project is not officially authorized. It cannot begin. The project manager cannot begin the planning of the project till the time the project charter is not approved. Only projects that align to the organization's strategic objective are authorized. If the objective of that particular project is not aligned with the organization's strategic decision or goal, it will not be authorized by the portfolio manager. You remember we spoke about program, project, portfolio. So portfolio management is a segment that manages and ensures that all the right projects are taken over. So that is the responsibility of the portfolio manager. Portfolio manager is the one who will ensure that the project is aligned as per the organization's strategic decision and is approved. So initiating project, it begins. A project charter is created. The responsibility of creating the project charter is with the sponsor. The sponsor may delegate the job to the project manager. A project charter is created. It is approved. After it is approved, the project is formally authorized. Only the projects that have an alignment with the business objectives of an organization will be approved. Who approves it? The portfolio manager. It is the responsibility of the portfolio manager to ensure that the right project is taken. And it is the responsibility of the project and the program manager that whatever project has been assigned to them, it is done in the right manner. You can view the previous video that we have uploaded. It talks about this in quite detail. Alright, now post this, what happens? Let's see. Now the pre-project work is done by the sponsor, the PMO's office, that is the project management office. Now there is a PMO office in most of the organization. If there is not in your organization, it can be a possibility that a different team or a team who is lining up with the CEO's office is managing this profile. The project management office, the PMO's office is the one who does the pre-work of the project. portfolio steering committee or other stakeholder group. There will be group of people who come together who have a need of the project for a particular output. They may come together, create a small working group and create the objectives of the project. The moment the objective of the project is done, the pre-project work is done, it will then be created and formed into a project charter, which will further be sent forward for approval. Once approval is done, it will be authorized and handed over to the project manager to do the further work. Okay? The project manager generally helps write the project charter. Helps, please remember this word, help. It is not his job to create a project charter. It is to be created by the project sponsor. The business documents are documents that are generally originated from outside of the project but are used as an input to the project. We saw some of the rules of handling inputs and outputs in the previous session. What are those rules? It says that most of the output documents are an input to some or the other process. All the inputs have to be an output from somewhere, generally within the project. If it is not there from within the project, it will be from outside. And business document is one such document which is used as an input in the initial stage of the project, which is initiating project. In one of the previous videos done very initially, we've also spoken about business documents. I think it's the first video, the one which was uploaded on 17th May. It is the video that talks about two business documents, business case and business management plan. So those business documents, some reference of that you can see in the previous video, right? So the business document are documents that are generally from outside of the project. It is not a part of the project. It is a part of the pre-project work. Remember, these are important terminologies for your initiating process group. Almost 10 to 15% questions will come from initiating process group in your examination, and you have to be thorough in that. All the documents that are created during this process group, you should know that, right? All right, now let's see what are the boundaries of your project and what is the role that you as a project manager has to play, right? So there is a sponsor. You see on your extreme left, there's a sponsor who creates a business document. Now which are the business documents? A business case and a business management plan. Now these are the two documents that the sponsor creates. Now these two documents are used as an input in the initiating process. Within initiating process, all the other work is done. Now planning and executing are two processes that will happen for the majority of the time of your project. You will plan and then you will execute. If there is any changes that you need to do in your project, you will again plan and then you will again execute. Now, when do you think that you will be able to define what changes needs to be done to your plan that you've already created? When you monitor your project during the monitoring and controlling process, and hence, if you can see, the monitoring and controlling process is there throughout. It is there throughout, right? So planning process and executing process is overlapping. Then there is monitoring and controlling, which will happen throughout your executing phase, and then is the closing process. So two processes that happens at a predefined time is initiating process and closing process. Apart from these two, planning and executing and monitoring and controlling happens throughout the life cycle of your project. While you do the closing of the project, the deliverables are sent to the end users. Whatever you've made your product, the output of the product, right? The deliverable that you were supposed to deliver that was written as a part of the project charter at the initiating phase. That will be given to the end user, whoever your sponsor is, stakeholder is, whoever your user is. And the project records have to be sent to OPAs. Now what is that? Your lessons learned. You can review about OPA in detail in enterprise environmental factors, and organization process assets, that which talks about these two key factors. Okay, understood? So that is the project boundary. Now your boundary is from initiating to closing. That is your clear boundary for a project manager. What the sponsor does and what the deliverables at the end user has outside of the project boundaries. Of course, the project manager will be involved on all these activities, but it is not a part of the project boundary. All right. Now, initiating process groups involve the sponsor, the customer, and the stakeholder during initiating, creates a shared understanding of the success criteria. Do you remember that we've spoken about success criteria also before? What are the questions that needs to be answered along with the help of the stakeholder to finalize the success criteria? Very, very important for the success of your project. If you have not defined the success criteria, then it's going to be extremely difficult to measure it at the end when the product is delivered. When the product will be delivered, you will never be able to justify it completely if the success criteria is not met. And hence, it is important that you involve the sponsor, the customer, and other stakeholders at the initiating stage itself. At the beginning of the project, the expectation should be correct. It should be formed. The expectation should be set that if this is delivered, my project is successful. Anything lesser than this will not be acceptable. Yeah. It also increases the likelihood of deliverable acceptance, as we said. It is accepted because when you talk to your stakeholder, when you talk to your customer and your sponsors, there's a high possibility that all your doubts get cleared. So when your project is complete, you can always tell the stakeholder that we were involved from the first stage itself. And the satisfaction of the stakeholder throughout the project is met. Because your stakeholder will know that whatever is happening in the project, they are always in the loop. They know what is happening, rather than some project managers who believe that let me finish the project and let me go back to the stakeholder at the end just to verify only for the UAT of the project. That's not how things work. If it's a larger project and it's a longer duration project, you have to be in talking terms with your stakeholder from the initiating process itself. Yeah. So let's see how many processes do we have in this process group. That is the initiating process group. We have two. We have develop project charter and we have identified stakeholder. So how many knowledge areas we have? We know we have 10 knowledge areas, right? We've spoken about this in the video that talks about process groups and knowledge area. Now we have 10 knowledge areas. Out of the 10 knowledge areas, there are 2 knowledge areas that impact the initiating process group. That is project integration management and project stakeholder management. As a part of the project integration management, we create the project charter. That is develop project charter. And as a part of the project stakeholder management, we identify our stakeholders. So before you start your planning, which is the second process group, you have to finish your first process group. Alright, so that is the reason that before getting into the knowledge area wise studying, which is integration, then scope and cost and all that, we are first clearing all your doubts in terms of the process groups, because that's an easier way of understanding. You will never do your project in the real life as per the knowledge area. It is overlapping, it's very tightly binded, and you always work as per your process groups. You will first initiate, then plan, then execute, then monitor and control, and then close, right? And then of course execution, planning, execution, monitoring and controlling are overlapping, right? So let's see what are a part of the develop project charter. All right. So what is develop project charter at a very high level? So at this point of time, you just need to understand what is that process group all about. We are going to understand all the processes in quite detail when we are going to get into knowledge area wise studying. But right now, when you are doing process groups, you just need to understand what does this process mean. Just clear your understanding here, okay? Alright, so let's begin. So what is Develop Project Charter? Develop Project Charter is a process of developing a document that formally authorizes the existence of a project. Got that? It formally authorizes the existence of a project and provides the project manager with an authority to apply the organizational resources to project activity. Now, what do you mean by organizational resources? You are using the workstation, you're using the electricity, you're using the data, you're using OPA templates, formats, you're using your resources of the organization to the project activity. Activities are what? Defining scope, defining cost, finding the time, setting the quality, identifying risk. Whatever you do for your project, whatever you do for your project is an activity. So project charter is nothing but broken into two parts. One, it is a document that formally authorizes the existence of the project. It now states that the project is live and awake and on, and provides the project manager with the authority to apply the organizational resources. Till the time the project charter is not prepared and not authorized, the project manager cannot start working on the project. Alright, so that's what the job of a project charter is. It can apply the organizational resources to the project activities. Got that? Now understand, and when you understand your process groups, you need to understand from a layman language. Now your project charter is created. Now as a project manager, you are a project manager, right? Now as a project manager, what will you do? What is going to be the first thing that will come in your mind? Now, okay, you have a project charter. Today morning you have reached office and you have received a project charter on your table, which is signed and authorized, and against the project manager, your name is written. And you're very happy with that. Now, what is it that how are you going to start? So the first thing that you will do is you need to identify your stakeholders. It is a part of initiating process group. Your project will not begin your project will not get into the planning phase till you have not completed your groundwork of identifying who your stakeholders are. So stakeholder identification is the process of identifying project stakeholders regularly and analyzing and documenting relevant information and their interest, involvement, interdependencies, influence, and potential impact on the project success. Confused? Let's do it again. Who is your stakeholder? A stakeholder is one who gets impacted by your project or impacts your project. That's clear? All right. Now, how do you identify a stakeholder, and what is it that you will mention about a stakeholder in the stakeholder registry? You saw that we just spoke in the previous slide that you have to create a project registry, right? So what all are you going to mention? So first you have to identify the stakeholder. You have to analyze how important that stakeholder is for your project, which means you have to document the relevant information. Now, what are the relevant information regarding the project? What is the relevant information regarding the stakeholder? What is their level of interest? Got that? How interested are they in your project? It can be both ways. They want to help you achieve the success of the project. They want this project to be shut down. He is also a very important stakeholder for you. How much do you think the stakeholder is going to be involved in the project? It can be a possibility that there are few people who are very, very enthused about the project and will be involved at every stage. And there will be some who will not be involved in the project, but does not mean that he is not an important stakeholder. So you have to make sure that you write down what is the involvement level of that particular stakeholder. What is the interdependencies? how does that stakeholder depend on you or you depend on him? Is there any approvals that you need from that stakeholder from time to time? Do you have to keep on sending him some reports from time to time? Are you dependent on that stakeholder for the cost approval, budget approval, time approval, resource approval? Important, right? What is the level of influence of that stakeholder? If he is an influential person, he is going to influence your project big time. So whether it is a negative influence or a positive influence, you have to manage that. And what is the potential impact on the project success? Is that person that important that his change or his viewpoint will impact the project success? Very important for you to note down, document it, and then handle your stakeholder accordingly. All right. So these are the two processes. These are the two processes of the first process group, that is initiating process group. So let's revise. What did we see today in today's session? This process is performed once and or at a predefined point in the project. Develop project charter is a document that authorizes the existence of a project. Identify stakeholder is the process of identifying the project stakeholder. Got that? Three very important part for your initiating process group. So that's the first process group that we cover today. So guys, that is it from my end today, and in the next session we are going to talk about the planning process group, and believe me, it's very big, very exhausting. But before that, you have to make sure that you're very sure about what you've learned today in the initiating process group. And you can also view on the previous videos. Everything is interlinked in PMBOK 6, including the role of the project manager, what are the process groups and knowledge areas, what are EEFs and OPAs. You can check all of these on my channel. So like, share and comment on the video if you like it. Also subscribe to my channel to never miss a notification. Put a comment if you have any queries and I'll be happy to come back to you. Meanwhile, share with your friends and family, and see you in the next session. We will be talking about planning process group. Till then, study, keep connecting, and all the best.